Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks pregame podcast. Blackhawks Avalanche. Eventually, go brew some coffee. Stay up with us because we're going to be on after the game. Puck drops at 9:30. We've got a lot to get to on this show, including the lines for this one. We're going to hear from Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon, who talked about Connor Bedard. Then we're going to hear from Connor Bedard. And before we're done, we're going to reveal our Who's Your Hawk for this game. Hello, fellas.
What's up?
Hi.
Long time no see.
I know, right?
You know what's fun? Starting a pregame show later than we started our last postgame
really?
show.
Honestly, it's not the greatest.
You got to accommodate those hot 8:30 Mountain Time starts.
Well, and there's a college football game that at last check in the third quarter, the score was 3-2. Barn burner between James Madison
is that the
and
lead
Marshall.
in to the game?
I think so, yes.
That's the
Wonderful.
reason why we're dropping the puck at 8:30.
I think so.
Piss on ESPN.
Piss on old-time hockey.
Piss on Eddie Shore.
Well, why don't we just get right to the line, shall we?
Yeah.
No
Sure.
changes from last game, aside from Peter Mrazek getting the start in goal. And look, you got two goalies that are playing really well, so why not keep them going, keep them fresh, keep them warm, too. Top line, Bedard centering Hall and Donato. You got Reichel centering Johnson and Radish, Dickinson, Foligno, and Perry together again, and Athanasiou centering Kachuk and Entwistle. Your D pairs, Vlasic and Jones, Korchinski, Murphy, Kaiser, Zaitsev, and like I said, Peter Mrazek in goal. This is a big test for the Hawks, as a lot of their games have been this year. When the early schedule came out, aside from the opening game, this is one I had circled because you've got, now with Bedard up against the Avalanche, Pittsburgh, they're a little grittier than they get credit for. Boston is kind of a grindy little team. This is one where I think we're going to see a lot of offense in this game. I expect a lot of offense either way. This could be a pretty high-scoring game considering all the skill.
Yeah, I mean, we talked with Megan Angley of DNVR Avs to get a sense of the Avalanche this season, and yes, they're missing Gabriel Landeskog for the entire year, but they are still super deep across the board. You have guys like Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar. Any team with those two on it, you're going to have a lot to deal with as the opposition. So yeah, I mean, I think it was great to see the effort that the Blackhawks put in against the Maple Leafs, and probably took advantage of them maybe sleeping a little bit through that game. You're not going to get that against the Avs. This is a team that is out to win the Central Division and make up for how their season ended last year. So Hawks got to be ready right from the get-go. I know it's a late start. I know it's game 5 of a 5-game road trip. You haven't slept in your own bed in 2 weeks, but you have to be ready for this one. And otherwise it's going to be 3-0 Avs very fast.
Yeah, this is a team that if you don't answer that opening bell, you're going to be staring up at the lights before you know
You're going to be chasing.
You got to win this one because you can't upset Team Dad Nick Foligno.
That's true. That's true. You can't let him down.
Don't want to disappoint Team Dad, and it should be a fun game. I have a hard time picking the Blackhawks to win necessarily, but I think it could be a fun, close game. If we get what we saw in Toronto on Monday, then they'll hang with them for a while. But we'll see.
If you're making us stay up the slate, at least entertain us.
Exactly. And, Connor Bedard coming off of his first career pointless game, does that fire him up? Do we get that explosion tonight? We'll see. Should be
that 3.5 line is still there for you.
Still there. It's been hammered.
Circa and DraftKings both have 3.5. Is the over-under for Bedard shots? Play the over.
He's averaging 5 shots on goal a game.
Yeah, I mean he had 4 last game, and that was his lowest total of the season so far. So it's there. It's easy money. Bet it, no matter what it is, bet it all 82 games. I bet you win at least 65.
Yeah.
I'll look up the stat real quick. You guys talk about
Do that.
yourselves.
And while Mario's doing that, make sure you smash that like button for us and subscribe to our YouTube page. The quest for 50,000 YouTube subscribers begins anew after we hit 40,000 last show. We appreciate it. Lots of people watching, not a lot of likes, so make sure you hammer that like for us. And little programming note. Today, Mario and I had the opportunity to talk to Jamie Faulkner. That interview will go live tomorrow at 11. Had about 25 minutes or so to talk to Jamie, so it was kind of a quick thing ahead of the Blackhawks home opener, but got into a lot of stuff, including the Fanatics jersey situation, which is on everybody's mind. I think you'll feel good when you hear that conversation, and we're not going to spoil it, but some really good news for Hawks fans from the 90s, I guess we would say.
You might want to fire up some AC/DC.
That's right. Lots of good stuff in there. So set a reminder. Tomorrow at 11, it will publish live on YouTube, and also the audio podcast will be available then as well. So whichever you prefer, check it out. Tomorrow at 11, Jamie Faulkner with Mario and I. Greg had some family stuff to attend to and came together very quickly, so we just had to scramble and get it done as we could. So
check
that out.
Here's a stat I was looking up here. This is from Sportsnet Stats. Connor Bedard has an NHL high 20 scoring chances at 5-on-5 this season, which coming into tonight was 7 more than the next closest player, which was Brian Rust with 13. The other stat here is that Bedard is 4th in the NHL in shot attempts, 2nd in the NHL in shots coming from the slot, 1st in shots off the rush, and 1st in shots off cycles. So for only having 1 goal, he's letting it rip, and eventually
The goals are coming.
the dam is going to break.
Brian Rust, that's your guy, isn't it?
Yeah, who the fuck is he?
That's your guy. Yeah, I mean, that's why it's like, some people may just say, oh, he's only got 1 goal in 4 games.
Those people are penises, Greg.
He's overrated, overhyped. But when you look at those numbers, it's like,
Yeah.
He's a mere couple of inches away from having 5 or 6 goals already.
Right.
They're there. The chances are there, and if he keeps producing chances at that rate, he's eventually going to be giving some sleepless nights to goaltenders all across the league.
Yeah.
Let's start that tonight.
Yeah.
I would love for him to just go bar down right over the goalie's glove. I don't know who's starting tonight, but
It doesn't matter what your name is.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I would love to see him just get a beautiful snipe goal tonight and just kind of like feel like, okay, my shot works in the NHL. Like on to the next one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, why don't we hear from the two of the two biggest superstars on a team full of superstars, Cale Makar and Nathan MacKinnon, back to back, talking about Connor Bedard after this morning's morning skate in Denver. Thanks to our friends at DNVR for sending this video to us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just watch some of the games and stuff like that. It's very natural out there. Obviously, he thinks the game really well, fast, and then reads the puck well as well. So, no, I think he's only going to continue to get better this year. And yeah.
Have you seen a player like him? Like, when was the last time you've seen a player like him spend so much?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm still young, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the top guys in the game. I don't know if you can really compare him to anybody. I think it's just elite hockey sense and the way he thinks the game that's going to elevate a lot of players that he plays with. And that's kind of the exciting part. I think he really takes every day into account in terms of making guys better, and that's the only thing you can really ask for from young guys on your team.
Considering the hype around him, though, do you guys relish this chance to kind of welcome him to the league and show him what a top-flight hockey team really looks like here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's a great way of putting it, but I mean, for me, I think one of the first, whenever we played McDavid first or Crosby, I think you give them kind of the same treatment. It's cool. I mean, obviously he's done a lot to get here, and he's only going to keep getting better. So no, it's fun to play guys like that. But like I said, I don't think we can, as a whole, focus on one individual tonight. I think it's a team game. But no, he's capable of doing a lot of things on the ice, and you definitely have to be aware of his out there.
Thanks, Cale.
Yeah, he looks awesome. I caught a couple of his games. He looks so really good, and he's very dynamic. Obviously, I don't need to tell you guys how good he is, but yeah, he works. I know he works really hard just for being around him a little bit, and yeah, definitely respect his game, and it's going to be tough tonight to contain him.
Does any of that make you, think about when you were first year in the league and kind of just getting going?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have it nearly as tenth of what he's got going on. So, he's a lot better than me at 18. That's for sure. He's handling it really well. I think he's very mature. He looks great.
Does it remind you of your Texas at all?
Not really. No.
More just the comparison of how much hype is around.
Oh, you mean his game?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I meant as a guy.
No.
I think the hype obviously is similar. I think. I was only 9 when I came in the league, but I remember being a pretty, a lot of excitement. I think the same thing with Connor. I think they're handling it both really well. They both did, and Connor is currently, and he's like I said, he looks great. And obviously, he just wants to play hockey.
Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon.
And apparently 17,000 people in the locker room.
And a demon.
It's a very crowded locker room there in Denver.
So it
Yeah,
happens.
it's Halloween.
It is difficult. I think we told you this after the game in Pittsburgh. We had a really great interview with Connor Murphy, but there's so many interviews happening right on top of each other that we could almost hear Alex Vlasic better than Connor Murphy for some reason.
Yeah.
So it was unusable. It's tough, but they did the best they could with the equipment they had, so we appreciate them sending it.
Absolutely.
You can still hear him.
It's a nice treat to get two of the best players in the league talking about, one of the future best players in the league.
Yeah, and it's funny, like as you mentioned
88th
that.
best according to ESPN.
What's that?
88th best player according to ESPN, Connor Bedard. Evgeny Malkin not in the top 100.
That's right.
Anyway.
And starting Central Division games at 9:30. Yeah, ESPN is total hockey network.
Yeah. Hey, it's been happening for years. It's just it's an NHL stupid thing. I don't get it. I mean, when you have West Coast teams, you're going to have late games, but
Neither of these teams are in the West
yeah,
Coast.
Denver's not on a coast. Last I checked.
No.
What I learned in Denver was elevated desert.
I did learn that too.
Not a lot of coasts and deserts.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But in terms of Makar, and this is like we talked about how like we saw Montreal fans booing Connor Bedard, and I'm tired of the Bedard talk. I get excited when I get to watch guys like that play.
Yeah.
Whenever Cale Makar's on TV, I'm watching. I don't get mad about it. The
Right.
dude's awesome, and I don't know. I don't get.
I want to see as many
concept.
cool hockey highlights as possible. And if it's, if Cale Makar is doing it, or McKinnon, or McDavid, or Matthews, or Rantanen, or, if Joe Pavelski is making tips, deflections that are behind his back, no look or whatever. Like, I just want to see the coolest hockey plays that can be made on a nightly basis. And I don't care who they're coming from. And with Bedard, I think we're going to get a lot of them in his career. So you just want to see the best players make the best plays. And the league needs to make sure that those best players are getting the spotlight. And I don't think with all the Bedard coverage that has been going on so far early in the season, I don't think it's taken away from anybody. I think all the other stars are getting rightfully highlighted. Everyone's talking about McDavid and Jack Hughes and all these guys across the league. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yep. I knew somebody was going to ask. Bedard's Burner says, why the Coyote shirt? This is the only purple shirt I own. And it's a purple hat, and it is Spirit Day, which is an LGBTQ awareness day. It's like an anti-bullying kind of a thing. Greg's wearing purple. I'm wearing purple. That's why. I had to find my purple shirt, even though purple's my favorite color. I only have this and a Northwestern football shirt, which that's going to be on the shelf for a while, I think.
Especially if you're wearing it in honor of like an anti-bullying day.
Yeah. Actually, it is not specifically football.
Okay.
I got it to wear to Northwestern softball games, but Northwestern is on the shelf for me for a while.
Yeah.
So that's why.
I'm not pro
Plus the purple.
bullying. I didn't get the memo. So
Yeah.
I
In fairness, you were covered in bruises underneath your shirt.
yeah,
Those are purple,
you
so
guys bullied the
you're
shit
there
out
in
of me.
So that's why. But yeah, I don't usually wear my Coyote shirt, especially during the season. But
it's a good
It's a
shirt.
nice
that was a
shirt,
good
though.
day to do.
I
I
have
do
that-
like the
I
shirt.
have
I
that
love
shirt,
their
Yeah.
I love their design.
Yes.
Their logo is very, very cool. Not as cool as ours,
No.
which you can get at chgolocker.com,
It's a close second.
along with several other Hawks-themed shirts.
Just like Logan Cooley.
That's right.
Close second.
All right, why don't we hear from our guy Connor Bedard here in Colorado?
Who?
I think these guys are very happy to be
Almost home.
almost freaking home. got to be bugging them. Here is Connor Bedard today after the morning skate.
5-game road trip here, 5th game. Just kind of how are you feeling? Getting thrown right into the grind of the NHL season.
Good. Yeah, it's been fun, and I think it's been good for us. Kind of like a lot of the new guys getting to know each other on the road, and you're always with each other, so it's been great.
You're going to play against some pretty big name players already so far, but Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar on this group tonight that you're going against. Just wonder kind of your thoughts on getting to play against them.
Yeah, it's exciting. They got a lot of guys that have been successful in the league for a long time, and whenever you get that to challenge yourself against the best, it's a lot of fun. And of course they won the cup not long ago, so they're a team that's been there and knows what it takes. So for us to get that challenge, that'll be great.
Have you had much of a chance to meet or get to know Nathan McKinnon over the last few years or so?
A little bit. This past summer I was with him a little for like 4 or 5 days at a camp or whatever, and same with the year before. So a little. He seems like a really good guy. I mean, I don't know him crazy well, but yeah, he's really nice to me and obviously a special player. So it's exciting to go against him.
What about his game do you think you would love to mirror most? In the NHL?
I mean, of course, you'd love to skate like him, but he's one of the few people in the world that can move like that, and I think just the way he thinks and handles the puck at such a high speed is really impressive, and he's someone that's fun to watch, and obviously one of the best players in the league.
How much it's been a long trip, and just from the beginning to now, I mean, how much have you learned? How much do you think your game's grown? Everything in 5 games, almost 5 games.
Yeah, I feel like I've got a little better each game. That's kind of my goal as the season goes on, and for our team, being 500 right now is good on this road trip. A lot of home openers, and obviously again tonight it would be huge for us to pull this one out. So it's just been a lot of fun, and obviously you learn kind of the way of living on the road and everything like that. So it's been good for me.
You worried about the altitude can do it all?
No, I mean I'm sure it'll be. You'll feel it a little bit, but I don't want to be setting an excuse already, and every team that comes in deals with it. I've never been here if it is a big thing. So if you're feeling that, you can't really make that excuse, I don't think.
We're getting ahead of ourselves, but how much are you looking forward to the home opener?
Yeah, like you said, try to focus on tonight. But if I were to think about it, super excited. Our fans are. I mean, I haven't played a real game, and preseason it was unbelievable. So we can't wait to see that and play in front of them. And I think we're all excited for that. But like I said, we're focused on tonight. Thanks.
Thanks, Connor.
Connor Bedard after the morning skate today. Some people in the chat noticing he sounds a little congested, a little stuffed up. Bedard flu game, 9 goals.
Kind of always sounds like that.
Oh, maybe it's the altitude.
It didn't sound different to me.
Could be the demon mic.
Could be the demon
Could
mic.
be the
yes.
demon mic, yes.
I didn't notice the altitude when we were in Denver. Of course, we Ubered everywhere and didn't do anything physical.
We weren't being athletic in any way, shape, or form.
I think there was a staircase I went up.
Well, you had to go up 3 staircases just to get to the kitchen in our Airbnb.
That's right.
It's true.
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't really notice it either.
No. It's oversold, overhyped.
Yeah.
They should fly in some Chicago air and just pump it into the stadium. Is that how it works?
Some beefs just wafting
Some
through
Italian
the arena.
beef scent.
Yeah.
There you go. It's just to make the guys feel at home.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, all right. Who do we got? Is it time to do Who's Your Hawk?
Sure.
It can be.
Do I go first because I'm in last?
Yes.
Yes.
Goes order of pick.
Yeah. Well, the reality is I forgot who I picked.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's on your
I
screen.
picked Lucas Reichel. Why did I pick Lucas Reichel?
Why did you pick Lucas Reichel?
Because he's due.
He is.
That's
Yeah.
why.
That's great logic.
But after y'all make your picks, remind me. There's something about Lucas Reichel that I heard yesterday that I think is interesting. So give your picks and go. But I think that just like Connor Bedard is due, this is the kind of game where it could, because it's a little higher pace and less grindy, probably, you probably see a little more from Lucas Reichel in this game. I hope he'll have a little more room, a little more speed. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do with up against an opponent that probably fits his game a little better.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I'm going with Ryan Donato because I think he's going to score a grindy goal.
Love it.
Get to the net, get a rebound, put it back in. I don't know. I got a feeling Donato's gonna score again. He had a pretty good series in that postseason series for the Kraken last season against Colorado. So maybe that carries over.
Be nice.
I have him in a three-leg parlay for tonight's Hawks game. In addition to betting the over for Connor Bedard shots, I have Blackhawks scoring the first goal, Blackhawks leading after the first, and a Ryan Donato anytime goal. So
that is a bold parlay.
I like winning money, so I went with the 1,300 plus 1,300 leg parlay as opposed to
throw down a buck.
Yeah, it's not like I'm betting $300 on that by any means.
Yeah,
right.
That's there's a lot more money on the Connor Bedard over shots than on that parlay. We'll just leave it at that.
I am going to go with Nick Foligno tonight. I would love to see a power play goal from him off of a rebound. One thing that I hope the Blackhawks do tonight, if and when they get some power play opportunities, is to just get some shots on net, make Alexander Georgiev work for it. As Greg told me, he was a starter tonight. And yeah, I would love for Foligno to be at that net front presence on the power play, maybe get a tip or get a rebound goal. Would love to see that. Perry got one against the Leafs. Let's get Foligno one. Get the old guys involved.
Let's do it.
What was your Lucas Reichel?
Okay, so it's not
info?
specifically about Reichel. You sent us a podcast video of Chris Versteeg.
I did.
He was on a podcast the other day, and what you sent it to us for was because he was complaining about the Hawks not treating him well enough at the Leafs game. Like he needed some kind of special treatment on the road, which I thought was weird. So I hit play to listen to that and then just kept it going. And after he stopped complaining, he got to some really insightful stuff. And he was talking about how when wingers become centers or young centers enter the game, start their career that way and are used to scoring, sometimes the pressure of not producing causes them to cheat a little bit offensively. He was actually talking about William Nylander. That's who this was about in the podcast. And it just kind of got me thinking about that adjustment that Reichel's making, because anytime a winger moves to center, there's going to be a drop in production just because of the responsibilities that go away and that come along with it, rather. And Versteeg went on to talk about when Patrick Sharp played center for a year, how the team won because of it, but his personal production went down. And sometimes younger guys, when they're adjusting to the new position, see the drop in their numbers, and then they start to kind of panic about that, and then they start to cheat a little bit. When they're supposed to be defending, they start to cheat into the offensive zone a little bit because they want to get their numbers back up. I'm not saying that's what's happening with Reichel, but I just thought it was sort of an interesting observation, especially as he tied it into William Nylander, who is waiting to find out what his future is in Toronto. He obviously wants to put up big numbers this year,
right? And
in the context of Patrick Sharp. And if you remember, when Hossa talked about when Kane played center on his line, and how it did work, but Kane's overall numbers went down. I thought it was an interesting observation that I hadn't really thought about before. So it's just something I'll be keeping an eye on with Reichel. But there was a lot of good stuff in there. I thought that was it was an interesting interview.
Yeah, no, I think it makes complete sense in the case of Reichel, because he's a guy that is looked at to be an offensive point producer, and in his career in Germany and for the most part of his career in the AHL, he played center, but he was still one of the higher producers on those teams. So now you get to the highest level in the NHL, and it's going to take some time. So yeah, I would hope that he's able to kind of recognize that and not cheat it to try and get his numbers up. Because as we said, the last couple of games, he hasn't been on the score sheet, but his defensive game has been noticeable at times, and that's something that as a young center in the NHL, if you can have your defensive game going for you, that's a good baseline. And then if if you're solid with your assignments and your responsibilities, then your talents can just come naturally, and your point production and scoring chances will start to increase from there, as long as you got that base there.
By the way, it was the J.D. Bunkus podcast believe that was the neighbors of Ralphie and his family, right? The Bunkus Hounds.
Sons of bitches. Serves you right, you smelly buggers.
The JD Bunkus podcast. If you just Google
That's
Chris
not a real
Versteeg
name.
podcast, it's the first result. He was actually very insightful. I just don't know what the hell he was talking about with the Hawks. Weird thing.
Little bit of entitlement there. It sounds
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think he's really good. If you followed him on Instagram, I know it was maybe 2 years ago. He was just in his Instagram stories would just break down playoff games from his living room with his golf putter, and it was great. I would actually like look forward to like seeing his stories and being like, oh, okay, like, you know, get some information on games and stuff. He was on Sportsnet for a hot minute, and he was really good. And then he just stopped being on TV for a while.
Did he have a unfortunate take?
He got real into the Canadian trucker protest,
trucker convoy,
and I
right?
think that was coinciding with the time he was off TV.
I don't think Sportsnet said it outright, but I don't think it was a coincidence.
Yeah, the
either.
timing wasn't coincidental. But then, you know, a lot of people have said like, oh, he should be, you know, with the Hawks and stuff. And then hearing his take on that on JD Bunkus's podcast was interesting because it sounded very salty, and I don't know if there's a good relationship
that the
there.
Hawks didn't give him tickets to go to the game in Toronto. Like, I don't think they
I don't
have
know.
that many tickets to begin with. I don't know.
Also, I mean, yeah, you won 2 cups here, but you're not Patrick Kane.
They
You're not Jonathan
they
Taves.
traded for you twice and then brought you back a third time to go play in Rockford, and then you quit.
You're retired.
12 games into the season, so
That could be part of it.
He retired from Rockford so he could
go
play in Europe.
Yeah.
So he could play in the Spengler Club with his brother.
So,
anyways, Chris Versteeg.
I've always liked Chris Versteeg though, at least to play. He was my favorite Hawk of that first.
He was a fun player.
I have the Chris Versteeg OG 32 jersey with the 2010 Stanley
Nice.
Cup patch. Still in
You didn't
my
get it
closet.
changed to a Michael Roosevelt after he went away?
Nope, because I knew he was coming back.
Well, knowing that GM, there was a good odds that they were probably going to come back at some point.
Yep.
And he did.
All right, game's time. Game's about to start here, so we're going to go because everybody's leaving anyway. We appreciate you being here with us. Please smash that like button on your way out. We will be here as soon as the game ends. Late night, we're staying up. Stay up with us, please. And remember, tomorrow at 11 a.m., that interview with Jamie Faulkner drops, so don't miss that. And anytime you see our stuff on social media, feel free to hit that retweet button and hit that like button there, too, because any kind of interaction helps us out big time, helps us spread the word, and I think you are going to enjoy that interview ahead of opening day. Tons of great details about what's coming up on Saturday, which I'm sure we'll get to a little bit on the post-game show as well. So thanks to Steven for running the show. We'll talk to you after the game. This has been the CHGO Blackhawks pregame show.
See you soon.
We all silly like the mayor.